Hi, welcome back. Hope Zvara here with our 10-week series. So this is week 6, and I hope that you've been committed to working 3 to 5 times a week with us. And this week we're going to be again adding some new movements in and really picking up the pace in a few variations. But remember, as always, I'm giving you a range of repetition, 5 to 10, and you can always pause me and work on your own, or you can even go back to work on one of the other previous weeks if you feel like you're not quite ready for today's series. Remember your modifications and your variations, and I can't wait to work with you on the mat today. Let's begin.
All right, welcome back. Lainey's going to start taking you through our warm-up series today. Lainey's going to start with some balance work. So standing up, bring the ball into one hand, leg out to the side. Exhale, foot to ball. Inhale, stretch it out. Nice. So Lainey's going to do 4 more along with you. Now really feel as though there's contraction in your core, bringing your foot to the ball. So pelvic floor contracts, exhale, and then inhale, stretch it out. So after you've done 5 on this side with Lainey, you're just going to simply switch it over to the opposite side and do 5 more. So inhaling, extending, exhaling, touch. So making sure we're not actually flexing or rounding the upper torso, but really bringing the leg to the ball and the ball to the leg, feeling the core contracted and nice and strong. So again, 5 on this side. Nice. Next, we're going to work with flexion extension. So Lainey will start out with soft bent knees and moving inhale into extension, pelvis leads forward. Exhale, roll yourself down, dropping into forward bend, and then bringing yourself up. Your core stacks your spine into extension. Really feel your body, and then exhaling. So Lainey's going to work through about 5 more with you. Just follow with your breath. Now if your hip flexors are really tight and stiff, keep your knees bent. Feel your feet grounded and your pelvis wave forward. And then as you exhale, come down, feel your hips pull back and your body drop. So no more flat back. Nice job. Stay with your breath. Perfect. We'll go into that lateral rolling. So opening yourself up, oblique roll. Relax your shoulders. Really important, keep neutral pelvis. Feet are grounded from all sides. When you're ready, inhale, move your hip off to the side as you roll down your ball, soft bottom shoulder. Exhale, lift yourself with your oblique, not with your top arm. So Lainey's going to do 4 more here with you. Again, bottom shoulder relaxed. Really focus on kicking your hip out to the side. Feel the fascia stretch. And as you lift, really mentally go to the oblique and tell yourself, okay, this is where I want to lift. The arm simply follows that movement rather than leads the movement. So again, we'll do 5 on this side, and then we'll move over and do 5 on the other side as well. Placing the ball somewhere around your wrist line, and then again, inhaling, hip leads, and exhaling, coming up. It's like a float rather than a pull. The goal is not the floor. The goal is to feel space on the extension and contraction on that up pull. Nice. All right, so we're going to just keep it 1 on each side for the sake of a warm-up here. We're going to go down to our knees and work with a single leg balance or a single kneeling balance. Lainey's going to tuck the ball behind one knee, and she's going to pin that ball really tightly between her hamstring and her calf muscle. So a little contraction there. Keeping neutral pelvis, gaze forward. All right, let's see if she can pick up the ball leg, barely, trying to keep her hips as level as she can and her core as steady as she can. So even a second is a good success. This is not an easy balance. Nice. And let's just try the other side and see how balance goes on that side. It's always nice just to throw a little bit of balance work in when we can, because balance equals stability. And she's going to pin the ball tightly between her calf and her ankle, or her thigh, sorry. And then picking up that knee to see if she can challenge a little balance here. Nice. All right, so turning into a tabletop position, place the ball under the left knee. So as you place the ball under the left knee, you can roll the toes under for a little kickstand effect. Make sure the wrists are under the shoulders and the folds of the elbows are turned forward without hyperextension. Really important to keep neutral pelvis. It almost feels as though your front hip bones are ever slightly tipped up into your abdomen against gravity. Trying to sneak your opposite leg back to the big toe barely resting on the floor. Inhale, slide it back. And just having that barely touch gives us the reminder mentally that we're not resting there. Squaring that hip down, slowly now open your left arm out to a T like an airplane. Nice. Keeping your chest totally square with the floor, let's see if maybe you can lift the back leg up, no higher than the hip. True extension is no higher than that hip line, about 20 degrees. So deep core muscles are strong, pelvic floor is surging towards the crown of the head. And then finally, if you really want to challenge yourself, we still have a couple more weeks of this series to work on it, you could try unrolling your bottom toes. Imagine as though your knee is attached into your sternum by a bungee cord. That bungee cord is your core. Let's go one more breath. And then slowly slide the limbs down. This is one of my favorite moves. Perfect. And then switch to the opposite side, remembering that coming in and out of the movement is part of the movement. So making sure the ball is under the knee, not really under the shin. The knee is under the hip, kickstand that knee, and then slide the left leg quietly and sneakily back. Hip stays square, thigh towards the floor. Back body is broad without hunching. Now slowly extend the arm of the ball leg side out to T. Really work to square the chest down. And if necessary, Lainey's doing a great job here, I want you to make sure the arm is directly outside the shoulder. Now slowly, if your body gives you permission, lift the back leg. We're going to try for about 4 more breaths, Lainey. Good challenge with stability. It's not a flat surface, so it's challenging all those little muscle groups and all those little connectors in our body that normally don't get challenged when we're in a hard-soled shoe or a flat surface. Nice job. I do want to encourage you, we are going back to that weaker side. So Lainey's going to go to her weaker side, whichever one that may be, and we're going to start with the leg. So keeping yourself steady, pelvic floor is contracted. Once you have good stability here, lifting the arm, and either staying with the toes down if your body says that's as much as I can handle, or at any one point lifting the leg. So we're going to go 4 more breaths, Lainey. Remembering, choose the variation that you can be the most successful with, but is also challenging just enough. So we have to ride that line. Too much is too much, not enough is not enough. Nice, coming quietly down. Excellent. So now releasing the ball from underneath the knee, we'll work with forearm plank between the ball between the thighs. So Lainey's going to place the ball between the thighs, give it a good hug. And when she's ready, she's going to come down onto her forearms and step the legs back. Awesome. So really important with forearm plank that we're not hunching in that mid-back, and we're making sure we're keeping pelvic neutral. Now the nice thing about the ball between the thighs is that that engagement surges that leg energy up into her pelvic floor. I'm going to finally have her turn her palms face in, and then press the forearms down into the floor like a knife edge, and that should help react a little bit more strongly in her core. Feeling open and not hunched in the upper body. Again, if I press on her lower back gently, she's going to resist me. Awesome. We're going to try to stay here for about 4 more breaths. Think about plank in thirds. 1/3 leg strength, 1/3 core strength, 1/3 arm strength. One section not necessarily overpowering the other. Nice job. Perfect. You can sit back onto your heels, take a breath. Nice space and stretch in that back body. Excellent. So next set series here is we're going to place the ball behind the back. So we'll sit in that V position. I'm going to throw a ball for Lainey to place between her thighs. You can adjust that as you need to. Feet are grounded. So remember the set series we've been going through. We're going to start with up, down. We're going to go into open, close. Then we're going to work with the oblique pull and then actually add a leg lift to that oblique pull today.
So with our first 2 set arm series, up, down, and open, close, we're gonna go one right into the next. If you need a break in between, always know that you can definitely take that time. I want you, again, to feel successful in your body. So sitting tall on your sit bones, exhale, add the tilt. Pelvic floor initiates that tilt. Inhale, ride it back 45 degrees, keeping nice open front line. We're gonna go 10 rounds, Lainey. So inhale, arms lifting, shoulders soft. Exhale, arms lowering, scoop in on the pelvic floor. I want you to feel as though the arms are acting in coordination with your pelvic floor. Imagine a wine corker. The arms come up, and then exhale, pelvic floor rises as the arms come down, the cork pops out. And that's your pelvic floor moving up and in strongly. Nice. You should feel no tension in your upper body and encouraging a gentle squeeze on the ball, let's say 10 to 20% of your capacity, and that will also help you stay out of the hip flexors. If you are feeling hip flexor pain, 1, mentally go to your pelvic floor. 2, add a little bit more engagement. Or 3, play with the angle and also how much you're tilting into that ball behind your back. Nice. Use your breath. Feel very fluid in connection with your breath on the inhale and exhale. Awesome. And if 10 reps is too many, you're going to do 5, you're going to do 7. And then when you're ready, we're going to go into open close. So inhale, opening, and exhale, imagine scooping in through your obliques. Awesome. This is one of my favorite moves because you can really feel the external oblique move into the internal, move into the rectus and transversus. So you literally feel 360 degrees of your core. Making sure when you open and close, and Lainey's doing a great job, that we're not feeling like we're dropping and arching in our upper back to try to compensate. So the arms are only going to open as wide as your body will allow. So just stay along with Lainey here. She's doing 10 sets. And if you need to take a break again, 5 or 7 sets is also very comparable. Nice job. Stay with your breath. You're doing great. Chin is level with the floor. Feet are grounded. There's no hip tension. On the next exhale, pulling up with the strength of your core. Release your arms. Let's go into a little bound angle here for what's next. Let's just prepare. So relaxing the shoulders. Really mentally let your knees drop open. Give yourself that signal to say, okay, I need to relax. Take a few really good breaths here. Try to tell your body to soften. And then when you're ready, you're going to set yourself up again with the ball behind the back. And this time, no ball between the knees. Yep, you got it. So in working with the oblique pull this time, we're going to be working 5 times here with the oblique pull without the leg, and then we're going to work with the leg. So Lainey's going to double with the leg because we're going to try to roll right into it. So if Lainey sets herself up, and she'll pull towards you. So reach back, pull back, look back as the leg lifts. And then back to center, shoot the torso back to center, leg down. It's not about shooting the leg super high. She's just lifting the foot maybe about 6 to 10 inches off the floor and then coming back to center. Her hips are very steady on the ball. They are not shifting. Her torso or spine is turning. So really paying attention to where you're moving and where you're not moving. Nice job. So you can bring yourself back up and arms down slow. So again, we're going to do 5 just traditionally with the arm. You can go back to genie style arms if necessary. Remember, work from where you're successful. And then those last, let's say 3 to 5, we're going to add that leg lift if your body allows. For the first set series, if you feel more comfortable with the ball between the knees, you're welcome to add that. If not, if free floating legs works for you, you can stay out of the hip flexors. By all means, take yourself there as well. So we're going to work 5 on one side, 5 on the other. So we'll work set segments, and then we'll go back to 5 on one side, 5 on the other. So you can really hone in on one side of the body and pay ample attention to that. All right, so when you're ready, sitting tall, exhale, pelvic floor initiates the little tilt. Inhale, ride the ball back about 45 or so degrees. Lainey's going to go towards you. Inhale, reach back, pull back, look back. Exhale, torso realigns. So 4 more. Inhaling and exhaling. Nice. So 3 more. One of the hard things is if your lumbar dorsal fascia, your lower back is really tight and stiff, you're going to notice that that rotation is really difficult to keep the legs really steady. And Lainey's doing a really good job really focusing here. Nice. And so after, she's going to go over to the opposite side. And she's going to do 5 on this side. If you feel more confident doing 3 or 2, or maybe a few with the arm pull and then going back to genie arms, I want you to work there and be successful there. Again, right muscles, not just right move. Nice. So after Lainey's last one here along with you, she's going to come up, take a little break, take a breath. Now as a variation, you can still just work with the upper body, just the torso rotation. If you're ready to add 1 or 2 leg lifts in, you're welcome to, but I want to caution you and remind you that if you're feeling the hip flexors, please stop this variation. Your body is telling you that it's not ready for it. I'm not saying that you'll never be ready, but right now we want to be in the right muscles, really important. All right, same setup. So when she's ready, she's going to take it back. So inhale with the leg, reach back, pull back, look back. Exhale, bring it back to center. Keep the pelvic floor engaging. Inhaling and exhaling. Nice job. 3 more if you're going to 5. Keep it steady on the sacrum so you're not feeling any movement on that green ball. Nice. So a little bit more mental work as well here. So after she does her 5 on this side, soft shoulders, she's going to switch and do the opposite side. Turning the torso. Nice. Use your breath, soft jaw, dropping, moving shoulder. So that shoulder you're turning, really keep it low and relaxed. Turn your eyes. The head is going to increase that spinal rotation, which is going to increase the use of all those deep spinal muscles. After your 5, or 3, or 2, hold at center, and then exhale, float up with your core. Give yourself a rest. You can rest over the ball if you need to, or maybe a little bound angle again. Nice job. So next thing we're going to work with is our tabletop series. So she's going to come onto her back, and the ball is going to go underneath her sacrum. So make sure, again, your sacrum is kind of right around where your pants are. So make sure the ball is not too high, but also too low. It's that flat plate-feeling bone. It's actually 3 bones next to each other, and that's your sacrum. Excellent. So neutral pelvis, find that pubis bone, hip bones are parallel with the ceiling, and that may make you more curvy or flatter than what you're used to if your normal is not really neutral. So we're trying to really reset the body. So here we're going to work with that rocking side to side. We'll work with circles, and then we'll move from there. All right, so nice neutral pelvis. She's going to bring her legs up. And since we have the props, I'm going to place 2 sets of balls between her ankles and her knees. How does that feel? Okay, awesome. So remember, the legs are moving in conjunction with the tip of the hips. So inhale, hugging on the balls. She's going to tip her hips subtly off to the left. And then just before she goes too far, exhale with the muscles on her lower core. She's going to pull herself back to center. Now, if she goes too far, her hips are going to swing out and up. So that was 1 set. She's going to do 4 more. Nice. Really think about the action happening internally rather than just pulling again from those trusty hip flexors and quadriceps. Now that being said, having the legs inverted like this, you are using your quadricep muscles. I'm not saying that you're not, but the pelvic floor is what the movement's happening from and where that stability is coming from. So you have to kind of balance it out. You can lower your heels slightly if you really feel your quads stringing. Nice. So again, she's going to do 5 times each way. And we'll remove the balls now. And she's going to move into circles. So she'll lower down 1 leg, plant that foot to the floor. Now here's a second option. If your hip flexors have the length and the ability, she could lengthen out that leg and draw it into the floor. Keeping her hips long, she's going to feel a little hip flexor stretch. No rotation out on the toes. She's going to work to keep that foot directly up to the sky. And then as far as this leg goes, she can keep the knee at 90, or she can open up that angle, let's say maybe half of what it would be, to about not quite 180. There we go, perfect. So again, the knee is isolated. If her hamstring had the capability, she could go all the way. But if all of a sudden she's feeling back strain, just because the leg is straight does not mean you're going to have ample benefits. So you have to find an angle and a range that's right for you. Then this joint is frozen in place. So now she's going to work with her circles, a little bit more challenging, and stability is really needed. She's going to go inhale 5 times out to the side, exhale, swing up and in, and then after those 5 along with you, she's going to reverse that and do the same thing the other way. Nice. So you notice more of a challenge in your core stability? Awesome. So the goal or the focus is always stability rather than how big the range of motion can be, because the range of motion will be determined based on your stability. So now she's reversing and going 5 times the other way, also honoring the depth of your hip socket. Nice. Use your breath, soft shoulders. Excellent. And now, here's a little challenge for you. Let's see if we can simultaneously switch the legs. Perfect. So again, this option may not be for all of you, and that's fine. Go back to a bent knee and plug that foot. Here we go. 5 times circling out, and then 5 times circling in. This is 2. Keep breathing. 3. Keep breathing. 4. You're doing great. And now this is 5, and then she's going to reverse it. And yes, she is going to go back and do that weaker side. Awesome. Mentally, really be in your lower body. Think about what you're doing and how you're actually making that action happen. You don't need to know muscle names. You just need to feel in your body. Awesome. She's going to go back to the other side. That's her weaker side. And she's going to do the same thing again. 5 times one direction, 5 times the other direction. Good. Just stay with your breath. I don't care how slow you go. Imagine again, you're sneaking doing this movement. You're doing this on glass or eggshells. 5 times one way, 5 times the other way. Nice. Excellent. Perfect. So Lainey's going to bend her knees, put her feet on the floor, lift your hips, remove the ball. Now the ball gets set between the knees for our bridging series. So just above the knee on that inner thigh, walk your feet comfortably close to that squeeze of the ball, and your heels should line up about sit bones width. And again, your heels are not in a distance that you could touch with your fingertips. Lainey looks great just the way she is. Feeling as though all 4 corners of the foot are amply pressing into the floor, especially the inner line of the foot, and so that you're not just in the heel, which happens a lot for people with bridge. We're lifting in a neutral pelvis. Rather than rolling up or trying to arc the body like a yoga bridge, we're trying to lift. I'm going to use the idea of a piece of plywood, even though we don't have a straight back like that, but you get the concept. So she's going to lift a few inches up off the floor on the exhale. Feeling as though she's balancing on her shoulders. Again, play with the height that works best for you. When I first started with this movement, I had a hamstring injury. I had one side that was 1 inch off the floor, the other side was 5 inches. So you kind of have to work with what's right for you. Pressing firmly now, let's say into your right leg, hug the ball in the pelvic floor. I want you to barely lift your left heel off the floor without noticing any change as far as your weight distribution goes. So this is a really good hamstring and back body workout. So again, the legs are not bad. They're just secondary to the pelvic floor and transversus. Nice. We're doing 5 breaths, 5 breaths, 5 breaths. Awesome. So pause here. And now Lainey's going to pick that still same foot completely off the floor. So she's going to take ball of the foot and heel of the foot off the mat a couple of inches. Keeping the thighs level. Push even more into this foot, Lainey, so that you can level out those hips. There we go. Awesome. So you want to be able to look up your body and see the legs as level and as even as you can. 5 breaths. After those 5 breaths, Lainey, go right into the leg extension. So now she extends the leg, she sees her toes, they're pointing up towards the sky. It's almost like an internal rotation on this movement. Hugging against the ball, pushing the foot firmly into the floor. 5 breaths. After those 5 breaths, We'll slowly take the foot down with Lainey, and then slowly, we're not even resting in between this time, we're moving right to the other side. Awesome. Engage pelvic floor, barely lift the heel, we're going 5 breaths. So lifting that heel, it's almost like a little starter high-heeled shoe. Nice. And then when Lainey's at 5 breaths here, she's going to lift the foot. Yep. So now we're floating 5 breaths. If you need to stay with the foot down, all more power to you. Listen to your body. Great job. Stay with Lainey. Stay with us here. And then Lainey's going to go all the way into leg extension. Flex the foot so we have great leg power. 5 breaths. Nice. Work to feel level and even. And really push into your base leg. Nice. And then Lainey's slowly going to come down along with you. Pause. So you can lower down. Take a moment. If you need to, knees into the chest. And then we are going to go back and do that weaker side. So we'll start with the heel, then the full foot lift, then the leg extension. If at this second round you feel like you're fatiguing, cut the breath in half. Do only 2 or 3 breaths. Or maybe only do the heel lift. Here we go, Lainey. When you're ready, lift. And then press firmly into your base foot. When you're ready, inhale, lift the heel, 5 breaths. So inhaling through the nose, soft shoulders. Exhaling, staying confident and strong. Think about, again, this just flawless transition. So now the foot's floating. Just stay with us and stay breathing. I'll call out those transitions for you. Press firmly into the base leg. Check that your hips are level. Now we're going into leg extension. Foot is flexed, toes and knee to the sky. Imagine a subtle internal rotation and power against the ball with both thigh muscles. Nice. Hips are level. Lower the foot down slow, and then slowly lower the feet down. Nice job. Lower the hips down. You can remove the ball, guide the knees into the chest, and just rock side to side, and just release out the lower back. Nice work. So we'll roll into sideline series now. So Lainey's going to lay onto her side and place the ball underneath her oblique. So we'll start off with that hover series. Yep, as a reminder, again, if you need to stagger the feet, please do. We'll pull the elbow back and go 5 breaths. So whenever Lainey's ready, she's going to release that elbow. So 5 breaths here. Reason why we don't bring the elbow forward is because we tend to then use the chest muscles, and that can throw off your hip alignment. Inhaling through the nose, really trying to notice and mentally think about the side of your body. That's your oblique. Awesome. Take a moment, and let's come right back up again. Now we're going to work with the leg lifting. So we're going to come and actually stack the feet again. Awesome. Lainey's going to come all the way up onto her forearm and press up and out of the rib cage. So now we're going to challenge that leg lift, and we're going to be at this angle here, making sure we're not slouching into the lower rib cage and shoulder. Inhale, top leg lifts. Exhale, squeeze the orange between the legs. Inhale, top leg lifts, and exhale, squeeze the orange. Paying attention that if you want to go too high, that hip is going to roll back, and then you're in the hip flexor. I want you to feel TFL, IT band all down the side of the leg. That lower glute maximus attaches at about mid-thigh, so we want to really make sure we're feeling that area of contraction. Can you notice the difference when you're really stacked versus when you're not? Because you really feel that contraction on the side of the legs. We're going 10 rounds. Nice job. Bottom oblique and rib cage are constantly pulled up. You're feeling in tandem the bottom oblique as you work the top side hip. Nice. Perfect. All right, so now we're going to come back and we're going to do the oblique lift and lower. Just going to kind of change it up here a little bit. So if you need to, stagger the feet. And now we're going to do that lift and lower. Just to review, we'll hover on the exhale. Inhale, lift. Hold on the exhale. Inhale, lower. Hold on the exhale. We'll do that 3 to 5 times. We're going to do 5. If you need to, cut it down and do 3, and feel free to just hover the remaining of the time. So when you're ready, Lainey, exhale, lift the elbow. Inhale, float up. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, hold. 4 more. Up on the inhale, hold, and then down on the inhale. Awesome. Stay with your breathing pattern. Nice. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lower. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lower. Exhale, hold. So finishing out this last one here. And then slowly take it to the mat. Nice job. Stretch it out. Open your top side body. Great. Now we're going to flip and do the opposite side. So Lynn's going to flip up and flip over. You can just roll over if you'd like to. So again, we'll just do the hover for the first time, and then we'll do the legs and we'll go back to the oblique. Just a nice little altering here. Give your oblique a little break. Really focusing on the hip stack. When you're ready, exhale, pull the elbow back. 5 breaths along with Lainey. Inhaling through the nose, top shoulder is soft. Exhaling through the nose. Feel your exhalation emerge from the bottom of your core. I can't stress that enough. Nice. And then pausing down, she's going to come up then to her forearm. Lift out of her bottom rib so she feels this nice side line. Perfect. Hips are stacked. Inhale, lifting the top leg. Exhaling, squeeze the orange between the thighs. So 9 more. Perfect. Feel free to just watch Lainey, stay on pace with her. Notice how she's not rushing through it. She's going to constantly check in with her bottom oblique. And keep your hips stacked. If you need to, that little towel underneath the bottom hip is going to be an excellent variation or an excellent addition for support as needed. Press your bottom leg into the floor for even more stability. And if you're feeling hip flexor, internally rotate that moving thigh even more. Awesome. All right, here we go. So now we're going to stagger again. Great. Keep the hips stacked 5 times. We're going up and down. So we'll lift on the exhale, pause. Inhale, float up. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, hold. 4 more. Lifting on the inhale, holding. Lowering on the inhale, holding. Nice job. 3 more. You're almost there. You're doing great. Just think about it. It can be micro lifts. Nice job. We're never pushing the head, but the hand is just rather there to let the head actually rest in it. Nice. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lowering. Exhale, hold. Nice job. Stretch it out. So ponder on that weaker side. Feel the space. And then we're going to go back to that weaker side. Now, mind you, if you have a weaker hip and it's not the same side as the oblique, by all means, flip sides and be able to balance that out. Lane is just going to stay on this side completely and work with that whole 3 series. So we're going to lift and hold 5 breaths. Here we go. When you're ready, so 5 breaths. So inhaling through the nose and exhaling. And since we're at week 6, Lainey could try to challenge herself. What happens when she lifts that front hand? Always a good checkpoint. I would roll right off the ball at this point too. And then pause down. Nice. She's going to come up to the forearm. Really pull out of the bottom rib. 10 times lift and lower. So inhaling up and exhaling down. Nice job. Focusing on the side of her hip. Excellent. So now we're going to go into that oblique line. Here we go. So inhaling, exhale, lift the elbow. Inhaling, float up. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lowering down. Exhale, hold. Inhale, floating up. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, hold. Nice job. She's really focusing on grounding through her lower body and really focusing on utilizing that oblique line. Soft top upper body. A good sign you're becoming stronger in your side body is you do not feel stress and tension up in your upper body. Nice. That's why, again, less is more. I can't stress that enough. Perfect. Stretch it out. Okay, so now we're just going to really focus on the legs. So we'll work with a leg series. I'm going to have Lainey switch back over to the side she started on. Perfect. She's going to lay down. She won't need the ball at this point. I'll grab it for you when you do, though. Awesome. Okay, so she's going to lay down, stack her legs. okay? And really focus on staying lifted with the bottom oblique. Now, if you feel like you're a little bit larger in the middle and you're like, well, I can't lift my oblique off the floor, it's the intention of lifting the muscle, not necessarily lifting all the tissues. So thinking about that oblique muscle, making a little house for a mouse or a little bridge so you can maybe sneak your fingers underneath. Again, varying middle sizes may alter that sensation, but we want the intention to be there. We're going to bolt down through her hips and keep her shoulders and neck as soft and relaxed as possible. So she's going to start out by actually, since we already did the leg lift with a slightly different arm movement or position this time, she's going to lift her top leg up to about hip level, and she's going to bring her bottom leg up to meet the top leg. Yep, and then down slow. Let's lower it down just a hair. There we go. And so again, exhale, inhale, lower down. Now, she's doing the same thing that I would probably do, and she's trying to sneak her toes to touch her foot. I want you to try to touch the entire, there you go, inner thigh line. So a lot of times that's just the mental, not wanting us to fail and say, well, if I just move this body part, it will feel like the same thing. So easy solution, Lainey's totally rocking it right now, is to lower the top leg down just an inch or so. Easy, simple fix. Nice. Nice and steady. This is not an easy one. So exhaling, coming up, and inhale, lowering down. So we're doing 10. Nice. Just take your time. Think about it. Now let's see if you can get your heels together too, Lainey. There you go. So literally sandwiching the inner legs together. Nice job. Okay, so now we're going to lift double leg. I'm going to actually set the ball between your ankles. And when you set the ball between your ankles, it's like lower ankle heel rather than ankle shin area. That way you get a nice firm engagement on that ball. Feet are flexed. We're not lifting high. Too high if your hips roll back. It's maybe going to be only a couple inches. So again, a nice squeeze on the green ball. This time I'm actually going to have you lift on the exhale. So exhaling, lifting, and inhaling, lowering down. When we think about whether to inhale or exhale, it's really the intention of the movement. Ultimately, our goal is to be so solid in our core that it doesn't matter whether we inhale or exhale. But again, it's whether the intention is wanting us to inhale or exhale on a certain engagement pattern, not necessarily flexion or extension. Although you'll notice a lot of flexion does have exhale. You'll notice a lot of our extensions start with exhale as well. Good. Give that ball even more of a squeeze, Lainey. There you go. Yep. So we're doing 10. She's doing a great job of keeping her hips steady and moving along the side seam of her pants or her body rather than rolling her hips back to lift. Nice job. All right, so Lainey's going to pick up and flip to the other side. I'll take the ball for you. Great. Okay, so again, we're going to do that. Bottom leg to top leg, 10 rounds. So again, top foot is flexed. It's even just challenging keeping that leg lifted. Excellent. So exhale when you lift. Really bring the whole leg together. Perfect. Inhale when you lower down. So 8 more. You're doing great so far. Keeping the bottom oblique also engaged is just another thought pattern that we have to kind of embed into our brain. It's one thing that we think about the legs and go, okay, all of our power into our legs, but we also need to think about what our legs are plugging into, and that's our core. Our legs are only an extension of our core. Our legs are only as strong as our core is. Great. Nice and steady. Keep that top leg nice and steady. There you go. Great job. Really think about it. Mirrors can be helpful, but I don't want a mirror to ever replace the mental awareness that you're ultimately trying to cultivate, because when you walk around in everyday life, there's not always a mirror there for you to see. So body awareness is really important. Great job. All right, so now we're going to do that double. I'm going to stick the ball between your ankles. She's going to give that a good squeeze. And so again, we're lifting on the exhale. Exhale, lift it up. Inhale, lower down. Being sure Lainey's doing a great job of staying sideline. Good. Give the ball a good hug all the way up the inner line of the leg. Think about your core starting from where the ball is and shooting right into the pelvic floor. Nice work. So exhale when you lift. Inhale when you lower. We're trying for 10. Now 5 seems more doable, or 7. Again, work to the point where your body is using all the right muscles. Nice. Stay with your breath. Stay with us. Nice job. Lainey's doing a great job. Excellent. I'm going to take the ball. Now you're going to go back to your weaker side. Maybe that's this side for you. Maybe it's the opposite. Where are we going today? Lainey staying here? Okay. So Lainey's going to stay here. She's going to do that top down again. So bottom oblique is lifted. Top leg's going to hover in place. 5 to 10 rounds. We're going to try for 10. So exhaling, that was 1. So now 9 more. This would be 8. When you work with 2-to-1 ratio, it's not necessarily important to say, okay, this is where I placed my leg on the first round, so I have to place my leg there. Maybe it's only half as high. Remember, you're doing this a whole second set. You may find that in the beginning, 10 reps, that's not that much. But when you start to really use the right body parts and work from the inside out, a little by far goes such a long way. Nice job. We're going to go right into that double. All right, here we go. Exhale when you lift. Inhale when you lower. Try to minimize the rolling of the ball between the ankles. And when you lift and lower, give that ball a good little hug. So what I'm going to do for Lainey here is I'm actually going to swing her legs back a couple inches. Now lift. Makes it a little bit more challenging. Yep. So her legs are just slowly inching forward so she could use a little bit more hip flexor and quad. So I pulled her legs back and I'm just going to hold her hip here when she lifts and lowers. This is not easy. If I was her, I'd be huffing and puffing on the floor right now. So she's doing a great job. Yep. Keep that bottom leg hugging up to the top leg into the ball. Nice job, Lainey. Excellent. Perfect. I'm going to let go of the ball. You can get rid of that too. Stretch it out. Breathe. Really open the lung. Give yourself a moment. And then when you're ready, we're actually going to roll onto our belly for some prone work. Excellent. So once you set yourself up onto your belly, you're going to take a ball. You got one? Perfect. And she's going to set that underneath her chest. So making sure it's underneath the bust line for women so that's not uncomfortable at all. And then root your pubis bone into the floor. As always, if you need to, place a small hand towel underneath the hip bones in order to add that extra little anchoring if you're struggling in the pelvis area. Excellent. Arms are going to float into cactus. Keeping the back of the neck long, the brain will usually say, oh, I can't move because I'm stiff. I'll just throw my head. Please don't throw the head. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, lift yourself up a few inches. Inhale, lower down a few inches. Exhale. So part of this here is learning how to breathe into your back rather than into your chest. Keeping the pubis bone rooted, there should be absolutely no lower back pain. Equally as much, the legs should not be flying off the floor. So really root the tops of the feet into the mat. We're going 10 rounds. Nice. Lainey's doing a really great job of not throwing her body. Most people will say in the beginning, flipping the breath and exhaling into extension is a little challenging because the body's not wired that way initially. But overall, having that core strength on an extension is so essential. You could slow this down and exhale, lift, inhale, hold, exhale, lower, if that makes more sense for you. Excellent. Just take a moment, pause. Now Lainey's going to come up and she's actually going to shoot her arms back by knees. So she's going to turn her palms to face in, rooting her legs into the ground. Now she's going to lift on a pullback extension. So inhale to prepare. Exhale, lift and pull yourself back. Nice. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, lift and pull yourself back. Pause there for me, Lainey. We want to make sure that the shoulders are not rolling forward. Nice. And then down on the inhale, breathe into your back. Up on the exhale. Great. So we're going to go 10 rounds. Great job. So you're trying to mentally feel for any imbalances. Is one side of my back pulling me up more than the other? Back off on the stronger side and increase your strength on the weaker side. Versus trying to make your weaker side work just as hard as your stronger. That's going to be really difficult. Nice. Lower back does not feel jammed. Pubis bone is anchored into the floor. Excellent. Take a moment, pause with your breath. Excellent. So now we're going to come up and we're going to pulse. So she's going to bring her arms back to cactus, and she's going to lift herself up into that extension. Stay here now, neck is long. And when she's ready, exhale, pulping the arms back. Inhale, release. Exhale, inhale. I'm going to keep my hands right here to make sure she doesn't pull her elbows back to her hips, but pulls them straight up and back, and she's doing a great job. She should be feeling upper traps rather than mid traps. So if she's feeling more of that mid-back line, she knows she's pulling back and pinching rather than lifting up and opening. Great. So we're going to try for 10, and then slowly lower down. She can remove the ball from underneath her chest and press back to rest onto her heels. As she rests back onto her heels, she can add a little torso reach right and left just to open up her obliques. Excellent. So coming up now and onto her back, Lainey's going to place the ball underneath her sacrum again, and we're going to work through our butterfly series and our frog series. Excellent. So neutral pelvis, and when she's ready, I'm going to lift up, ball between the feet again, that same placement that we had before between the ankles. We're going to first start with 10 rounds of the butterfly. So inhale, she's going to open her knees right here and then not move the legs into extension. Exhale, just hug and squeeze. Nice. Inhale, open. I'm going to just move the ball down just here. And then exhale, hug on the ball between the ankles and inner thighs. Inhale, open. And exhale, streamline your breath up and into your core. So we're going to try for 10 rounds. You'll see she's changing that arm placement. Remember those arm options. Straight edge, robot arm, arms to the sky. So in order to make something more challenging, we're actually letting go of stability and challenging that. So instead of making a movement more advanced, we're just checking in with your body to see how stable you are. Nice. Then exhaling, hugging the inner thigh line. Great. So she's going to go 10 rounds. And now, after her 10 rounds, we'll wait till she's done, and along with you as well, she's going to add in that frog press. So for the first 5 rounds, she's going to have her head down. For the second 5 rounds, I'm going to encourage her to bring her hands behind her head, and every time she presses her leg out into extension, she's going to lift from the bottom of her rib cage, not just her head, into a gentle flexion. It's not that flexion is bad, but just most of us are practicing it incorrectly. Okay, so when she's ready, she's going to do butterfly first. So inhale, butterfly. Exhale, frog. Nice. Inhale, butterfly. Exhale, hug, hug, hug. Squeeze the ball. Nice. Inhale, butterfly. This is 3. Exhale, press. Nice and steady with your core. Inhale, butterfly. Exhale, press. Engage. One more. Inhale, butterfly. Exhale, press, frog. Now, let's see what happens when she takes her hands behind her head. So now inhale, butterfly. Exhale, gentle flexion. Nice, not easy. Inhale, open, it's challenging. Exhale, think about it, contract. Nice. Inhale, open. She's not moving fast. Exhale, move at the bottom of the rib cage. Inhale, let's go 2 more. Exhale, press on the ball. You could be pressing to 90 degrees. Last one. Exhale, press. Inhale, release. I'm going to let the ball go here. Drop it down, knees into the chest if you need to. Give yourself a nice hug. Great job. Fun series, but a hard one. All right, so now we're going to roll back onto a prone position, so onto our belly. The ball this time is going to get placed between the ankles. So she's going to be down. I'm going to place the ball right here. Perfect. And she's going to rest hand over hand and her forehead down on her hands. Shoulders are relaxed, pubis bone is still rooted, core is nice and strong. So we're feeling that pubis bone, hip bones parallel with the floor, or PSIS, each side of the sacrum and tailbone kind of level with the ceiling. Most people, it's easier to feel the front of their body. So the first 10, we're going to lift up off the floor, lifting from the hip socket, not from the knee joint. So inhale to prepare, exhale to lift. Nice. And then slowly lower down. Give that ball about a 30% engagement. Exhale and inhale. So she's going to go 10 rounds, just a nice pace. And one thing you want to pay attention to is the ball rolling between the ankles. A lot of times our stronger leg will become what's called a lead leg, and it will try to throw up off the floor first. So I'm going to tap Lainey's left side here and just remind her to work that side a little harder because that is her weaker side in this particular movement. She's doing a great job of moving from the hip, not from the knee. So believe it or not, trying to move from the hip without burying your hip bones into the floor is a form of extension and actually stretching the psoas and hip flexors. We're just so used to thinking of stretching as this big, intense movement. Excellent. So next move what we're going to work with is hamstring curls. Lainey's going to work to root her pubis bone, and on the exhalation, she's going to curl her feet up flexed, and then inhale, straighten them out and point her toes. So a little choreography. The challenge with this one is, one, we are working hamstrings and gluteus maximus, but also really trying to control the ball between her ankles. Nice. So inhale, extending out, and exhale, curling up. Nice. Much better control. Again, that lead leg will often try to take over. So exhaling, curling, and inhaling, extending. You should not be feeling any stress or tension in your lower back. Keep the front rectus or belly muscles contracted and elevating towards the ceiling. Pelvic floor engages, and yes, again, your glutes and your hamstrings are contracting. Like I said before, it's not that your muscles and your limbs are bad. We just tend to isolate those muscles, or think we are. It's impossible to do that. We're working on only the limbs, and we never address where those limbs insert or attach to. So core first, leg second. Core first, arm second. Nice. Excellent. So really think about it. Shoulders are soft and relaxed, jaw is soft and relaxed. Great. Now we're going to work with one of my favorites. It's called raise the roof. Lainey will bend her knees, flex her feet. Now really keep that pelvic neutral. We are not grinding our hip bones into the floor. Exhale, press your heels to the ceiling. Inhale, release, and either drop to the floor or hover over the floor. Exhale, press, and inhale, lower. Things we're looking for. Do not let your knees flare out and open. Then you're shifting into the upper medius and minimus. I want you to stay in the lower glute. Watch that leg and ball and really try to stay as even as you can. This is not an easy movement, but if you're looking for something to transition from that gym curl, I don't even know what it's called, the hamstring curl machine, into something much more based on your actual true strength, this is going to be a great variation. So again, this green ball staying steady is what we're trying to focus on, but also how strong your hamstring is to keep that 90-degree angle in your knee. So we're going 10 rounds. Stay with Lainey here, just a nice pace. It's about a 4-count pace. Good. Upper body is relaxed. Deep core is strong. Great. I'm going to take the ball. Lainey's going to extend her legs back, and you can stretch back onto your heels, Lainey. Give yourself a good break. It's nice to have a couple movements in there that don't have 2-to-1 ratio. Give yourself a little break. So we're going to end in a sideline series again. This time we're going to incorporate an oblique lift in combination with a leg lift. I got a ball here for you, Lainey. So she's going to line herself up. Bottom leg is rooted. Good, you're a little crooked. We're going to come forward here. There we go. All right, so now bottom hand goes into the side of the head. We're not pushing with the hand. Ideally, the lift is going to be a couple of inches. So try not to be thinking big like the stars. This movement is actually very small. Bottom leg is rooted. Now you could break this down and do 5 just the upper body or 5 just the lower body and kind of work with it as you see fit. Keeping the hips stacked, inhale to prepare. Exhale, just float the lower elbow. Inhale, float up. And then exhale, lower down. Let's just kind of challenge that oblique here a little bit. Okay, good. Now we're going to lift both upper and lower. We're going to work upper body, lower leg. So inhale to prepare, lift it up. And then exhale, hold. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lift it up. Open neck. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lower down. exhale, hold. We're doing 5. Here we go. Inhale, lift, hold, lower, hold. We got one more. Lift, hold, lower, don't drop, and then release it down. Nice job. Stretch it out. So I really slowed down that movement, and I did the same type of setup series of the lift and lower as we did on the oblique with this leg combination this time. All right, let's flip and switch to the other side. Sorry about that. So again, how can I break this down if I'm not ready for this variation? Just upper body, just lower body, just lift and hold. So lots of options. Okay, so we're just going to do that one little oblique check again. So inhale and exhale, just lift it up. Let's just lift the oblique just for a moment. Inhale, lift. Exhale, and then lower it back down. Good, she's roaring to go. Here we go, upper and lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lower. Exhale, hold. 4 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lower. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lower. Exhale, hold. 2 more sets. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lower. Exhale, hold. Last one. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lower. Exhale, release it down. Stretch it out. Okay, so now find all the energy that you have left here. We're doing that 2-to-1 ratio one last time this set. Okay, so now again, this time we'll just go right into it. We're going to lift and lower 2, 3, 5 times. Work to where you feel like you can still be effective. Okay, hips are stacked. Inhale, prepare, release the elbow, exhale. Here we go. Now when you're ready, inhale, lift. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lower. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lower. Exhale, hold. 3 more. Lift, hold, lower. Hold. Keep it even, upper and lower body. Hold, lower, hold. Keep going. Lift, hold, lower, hold. We have 1 more. Lift, hold, lower, and drop it down. Stretch it out. Great work today. So again, feel that space. Excellent. So now when you're ready, Lainey, come up into a tabletop position. We'll just do a quick cool down here. So Lainey's going to come up into a tabletop. Let's do 5 rounds of a cat-cow. Elbows bend, inhale, snake your heart through. And then exhale, round, really pull your tailbone forward to the strength of the pelvic floor. Lean back. Awesome. 4 more with Lainey. Excellent job today. So remember, as you work through week 6 today, please use your variations and modifications. And as always, you can go back to a previous week if you feel like you need a little bit more practice, or you find that you're just not quite ready for what we did today. Listen to your body and really pay attention to what you're actually doing when you move. I can't wait to see you next week. Remember, 3 to 5 times I want you on the mat with me this week, and I'll see you for week 7. Namaste.